Hey guys, welcome to Budget with a July Dreamer. My name is Miranda, and on this channel I talk all things personal finance, specifically sharing tips on how to save, how to invest, as well as how to budget. If this episode interests you, then do not forget to subscribe to my channel, as well as give this video a thumbs up. So in today's video, I will be sharing my personal take on Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. And being in the UK, I have had to rejiggle these 7 baby steps to match with obviously our financial setting, and also I have tweaked them a little bit because I can't implement everything that he has said in his Total Money Makeover books and his other books, even his websites. So I have actually translated them into how I think they work for somebody like me who is in the UK. So I've got my trusted laptop here because I already wrote an article about this on my website, julydreamer.com. Definitely check it out if you want to read about my personal perspective on his 7 baby steps. So I'm sure everybody knows who Dave Ramsey is. He's the man we love to hate. He's this American financial guru who has an interesting take on money management. He believes in tough love when it comes to money management, at least from what I've seen from his YouTube videos, from his books and what have you. It's more about tough love with money, which I think in certain circumstances is definitely needed, because most of us, when it comes to making talking about money, we always seem to have a lot of excuses, and he, excuse my French, talks through all of that bull crap that most of us put up with or put ourselves in, so that to give you a different perspective. Not that I agree with every single approach, and I'll mention what I mean by that in this video. So first off, baby step number 1, which is to fund your emergency fund with at least $1,000. For the UK, I'm translating it to £1,000. It's not currency for currency, because I think that would probably be like under £800 or thereabouts if we were to do currency for currency, but we'll go with £1,000. Personally, when I was in debt and on a low income, and I'll link the video up above or in the description bar below, I think £1,000 as my emergency fund definitely would have worked for me. And I'll tell you why. It would have worked for me because apart from my debt, when it came to my everyday expenditures, they were really low. Firstly, my rent was quite low. I didn't have to pay for utilities because it was covered in my rent. The only things I had to pay for was my rent, my monthly bus pass to work, and food. And then for any other entertainment, I didn't really have much apart from like the gym, because I wanted to, even though I was in debt, still live my life and enjoy the money that I was making. But everything else was obviously going towards paying off my debt. So this is why for me at that time it would have worked, because it would have covered at least 2 months of my expenses if I didn't have income coming in for those 2 months. But if I look at it now with the current expenditures that I have, £1,000 is nothing for me. I think just my mortgage alone and my insurance, they eat up that £1,000 just like that. So for me personally, that wouldn't cut it, because my essential bills, like my absolute essential bills, are more than £1,000. So whereas I understand the idea why he proposed £1,000, especially if you're on low income and you've got a lot of debt to pay for, you may not have the capacity or the capabilities, I should say, to be able to save more than £1,000. So the principles behind saving £1,000 first as your initial emergency fund, I understand them. But if I started now to save for an emergency fund, I don't think for me it would be sustainable. So this is why I think whereas it's good idea if you are on a low income, if you've got a lot of debt to pay for, but if you are looking at your basic bills, it would work. I still think that you should save at least £2,000 to be your initial emergency fund. So that's baby step number one. Baby step number two talks about paying off your consumer debt except your mortgage. So your consumer debt are all your student loans, your personal loans, your credit card, your overdraft, all of that jazz. He says focus on attacking those, paying them all off except your mortgage. I am currently consumer debt free. I don't have any credit card debt, I don't have any loans, I've paid off my car and all of that jazz. So I'm no longer at step two. I think I am at step three. Not think, I know I'm at step three, which is fully fund your emergency fund. So for me, who is a single person, Dave Ramsey says it's probably best for somebody in my position to have at least 6 months worth of expenses saved, as your emergency fund, which I agree with totally, because if it took me at least 3 months to find a job, which in my industry it possibly could, it depends on when you're looking for a job and all of that jazz, but if things spiraled out of control and I didn't have income coming in, I think 6 months is a safe bet, because if for the next 3 months I don't find a job and I have to rely on my income, I would then find myself, when I do finally start getting paid, maybe say after 3 months, that I only have a small amount of money in my account left that will put me at risk to start incurring debt if something unexpected happened. And when you actually are going through certain things, it seems like every other thing that needs to happen to you seems to happen all at once. And this is why I think for me 6 months is better. If you've seen any of my Transfer Tuesday videos or my emergency fund video, I've spoken about my personal goal for 2021 is to save up to £15,000, over £15,000 before the end of the year, to cover 6 months of my bougie essentials. And I say bougie because I know the kind of lifestyle that I lead, the kind of lifestyle I still want to continue living if I didn't have income coming in. This is why I chose this amount. If I was being realistic with myself, the 7,700 that I currently have in my emergency fund is actually sufficient to cover 6 months of noodle budget. By noodle budget, I mean absolute basics. Netflix is not one of them, Disney Plus is not one of them, Costa drinks that I love so much, not one of them. So absolute basic, that would actually be sufficient. But I've chosen to go with a bougie one because that's what I want to do. So right now I'm currently on step 3, baby step 3. I couldn't say that for a second. Yeah, but then, so that's what Dave Ramsey says. The next step, Dave Ramsey talks about investing at least 15% of your income into investments. Now, for me personally, I actually agree with this number and I'm working towards that. Right now, I am doing, I think, about 11% of my income I am putting towards my investments, and this is purely because I've been able to rejiggle certain things in my life, so I don't actually spend all the money that I make from my salary. So if I was to be, I don't know what the word is, but if I was to look at it from afar, I'm already doing 15%. But this 15% also includes my pension, my private pension, plus my pre-retirement investments that I do. So if I was to combine these two, so what my employer matches and what I personally invest, I'm already doing 15%. But I want to make this 15% more of my post-tax income. On my post-tax income is what I want to focus on. I mean, actually no, my pre-tax income, so that level is what I want to focus on investing. But in that way, I then have to include the investments that I do with my employer, my private pension, and my other investments in my stocks and shares, ISAs. So essentially I am doing this already, but I still have a weird way of thinking about it. But this is how I think about the Dave Ramsey baby step number 4. Baby step number 5 talks about saving for your kids' college. I don't yet have kids, so for me personally at the moment I'm not really thinking about this. But if you are somebody who has kids, Dave Ramsey says this should be step number 5 for you. So after you've put in that £1,000 in your emergency fund, paid off your consumer debt, then fully funded that emergency fund with 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, then what was the other one? Then invest at least 15% of your annual income, and then now you can start thinking about investing for your kids. I see a lot of YouTubers in the finance space that do budgeting. Most of them have some sort of investment that they're doing for their kids. In the UK, I think we have junior ISAs. I don't know if we have anything else other than that. I am not a parent yet, so I haven't really looked into that. But so whilst I was busy talking away to my camera about the Dave Ramsey 7 baby steps, I reached step 6 when I realized that my camera had died. And you guys, I refuse, and I feel like it's been the theme for the last 2 weeks where I literally refuse to re-record the whole video. So I'm just gonna use my phone again and continue with baby number 7, not baby number 7, baby step number 7, which according to my notes is build wealth and give. So excuse my shaking hand because I can't find my my tripod. But anyway, so build wealth. I think this is something that we all want to do. We all want to build wealth. So Dave Ramsey always talks about living like no one else now so that you can live like no one else in the future. I think that's the saying, but it's the principle behind it is, you know, you want to be living below your means, investing as crazy as you possibly can, invest, and just doing things that other people are not doing, in that, you know, you don't have to live super lavish lifestyle because you want to do that in later years. And for those of us who are following the FIRE movement, you know, financial independence, retire early, we actually want to, in our early years, invest aggressively and live below our means. And the second part of this build wealth and give is the giving portion. I personally allocate a certain percentage of my income towards tithe and giving. And I think this is something that is really important, because if you cannot give when you're only making, say, £20,000, I doubt you'll be able to give anyone when you're making £1 million. So this is why I think when it comes to giving, you don't have to wait until baby step 7. You can start way early. You can give either your time or you can give money. It could be £1, it could be £5, but you never know, it may change somebody else's life. And personally, one thing I have seen in my life is that whenever I have given, I've always seemed to have received back tenfold. Always. So for me, this is a principle that I've carried all my life. I continue and I will continue. I think I struggled with this when I was still at uni, because, you know, I barely made any money. I had so much debt, and giving just didn't seem like something that I could afford to do. But I had to change my mindset, in all honesty. I had to change how I looked at things, how I prioritized things in my life. And I started slowly but surely giving, whether it was to my church, to organizations, or to even, you know, other people who were in need. And that drastically changed my outlook on money. And I seemed to actually just receive money from nowhere. I have seen times where I have given for no apparent reason, and all of a sudden, whoop, I get a sale for my Etsy, and I haven't like received the sale for so long, but all of a sudden, doop, I get money. So for me, I believe in giving, and I think you should start giving as early as possible so that as your wealth increases, as you build your wealth, it's no longer something that you just have to start when you have money, because it will be difficult to part with £10,000 when you're making like 10 million or something like that. So this is why I think it's so important when it comes to building wealth to start giving as early as you possibly can. Start with your time if you don't have the money, or give the money, even £10, £1, whatever you have. So this is my take on Dave Ramsey's baby steps. I apologize, my hand is literally shaking from holding this camera and trying to figure out exactly where I should be looking, but I hope I'm looking in the right direction. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.